This is ShadowQuant, Market Brief, brought to you by AriesLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Monday, July 13, 2026, and this is the New York session. Now, let's get into it. Geopolitical shockwaves are rippling through global markets as oil surges nearly 10% on reports of an Iran blockade and U.S. military strikes. With the crypto fear and greed index hitting extreme fear at 14 out of 100, equities are struggling to find footing as investors pivot toward safe havens and energy plays. Let's break down the after-hours action.
Closing levels show a defensive tilt across the major indices. The S&P 500, tracked by SPY, finished at $754.95, up 43 basis points. The Nasdaq 100, tracked by QQQ, added 31 basis points to close at $725.51. The Dow, tracked by Diamonds, rose 30 basis points to $525.78. Small caps lagged, with the Russell 2000, tracked by IWM, down 42 basis points to $295.99.
Energy is the story of the day, but let's look at the corporate filings and earnings that shaped the close.
Earnings action was limited today, but the headlines were significant. Core Scientific turned lower after its fourth quarter results disappointed, sending shares down in after-hours trading. In regulatory filings, we saw a cluster of 8Ks from Agenus, Picard Medical, Esperion Therapeutics, Williams Companies, and BioMarin Pharmaceutical.
With energy costs rising and geopolitical tensions escalating, let's check the macroeconomic backdrop and what the data tells us about inflation pressures. The macro environment is tense. The 2-year, 10-year yield curve is currently flat at plus 36 basis points, a level that often signals caution among fixed-income traders. Inflation remains above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, with the Consumer Price Index at 4.17% year-over-year and core PCE at 3.41%. With the VIX closing relatively calm but pre-market scans showing spikes, let's check the risk desk.
The VIX closed at 15.03, which is deceptively calm given the headlines. However, the pre-market scan shows spiking volatility, suggesting the calm before the storm. The primary risk signal here is geopolitical. U.S. military strikes against Iran and the blockade of shipping routes are causing crude oil to settle at $78.14, its largest gain since April 29. Gold has seen sharp lower closes despite the safe haven demand, but the structural bid remains. The crypto fear and greed index at 14 out of 100 confirms extreme risk aversion. We are watching for a volatile open tomorrow as traders digest the CPI data against this backdrop.
So, what do we watch as we head into the close?
3 things to watch. First, the energy sector. With crude oil up nearly 10%, any further escalation in the Strait of Hormuz will directly impact the S&P 500's energy weighting. Second, the US CPI release on Tuesday, July 14th. If inflation prints hard, the flat yield curve and hawkish pressure from the Fed will intensify. Third, the Nasdaq. The QQQ is under pressure from AI chip sell-offs and broader risk-off sentiment. Watch for support levels as tech rotates into defensive sectors.
If you're finding value in this analysis, support the project at patreon.com/ShadowQuant. Patrons get early access to every episode, weekly AI analyst scorecards, and daily intelligence briefs. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, hit that follow button and leave a rating. It helps more traders discover the show. We appreciate you. This is an AI-generated market briefing by ShadowQuant. All information is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Market Brief. Stay tuned for the after-hours session where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.